Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Anti-Islamic slogans spray painted near Mosque in Brixton. And of course, this comes just a couple of days after the anti-Semitic signs that have been going up. So you could say, oh, it's militant Jews who think that the Islamists and the Muslims were the ones making their rocks in the first place. It could just be conflict theory. That is to say, if you have a load of different ethnicities and cultures within an enclosed group, then the community cohesion decreases. They're inversely proportional, and therefore you get more conflict. Even amongst people who used to get on with each other, there seems to overlap those pre-existing boundaries. So, police are investigating the incident at a cultural centre as a suspected hate crime. And hate crime is just if somebody takes offence and they think it's about one of the protected characteristics. It doesn't have to be the person's motive, it doesn't have to be how the person felt that it was being done to, but it's just someone who sees it happen, and it's now a hate crime. And of course they also want hate incidents to be reported, which is just if you think somebody does something because of their view of a protected characteristic. My favourite example of this, and they are all recorded, if you say there's a hate incident, then they have to be recorded. My favourite example is in a traffic stop where they're at the traffic lights and the lights go green and the car doesn't move, so the one behind beeps the horn to say, get a move on, and somebody walking by hears that, looks and goes, oh my god, I can't believe that, that's clearly racist, because the person in front was black. So they recorded it as a hate incident, you can find this out yourself, it is a recorded hate incident. The only problem with that is, of course, that the person in front wasn't black. But it's still a hate incident, because that was how it was perceived by somebody who wasn't involved. But that's the state of Britain today. So they go on to say, anti-Islamic slogans have been painted on a building close to a mosque and cultural centre in South London, that the Met have said. They don't want to go into detail of what exactly these anti-Islamic slogans are. Of course they conflate it with racism later on, as if to suggest that only brown people can be Muslims, but they tend to be very inclusive. It's like yield or die. That seems to be the Islamic doctrine. Officers were called to a building near the North Brixton Islamic Cultural Centre on Brixton Road at 11 AM on a Wednesday following a report of spray-painted slogans on a building near the centre. A statement from the Met said officers were called at around 11 on New Year's Day to reports of anti-Islamic slogans spray-painted on a building near to the North Brixton Islamic Centre on Brixton Road. Inquiries are ongoing at this time as part of the full investigation. We are working alongside Lambeth Council to ensure the offensive remarks are removed as soon as possible. And as far as I'm concerned, that would basically be it. Unless you're trying to say there is civil unrest and maybe we should do something about it, maybe to understand where these people are coming from. But of course they don't. It's like, well, okay, in that case, just get rid of them, wash it away, don't worry about it. But they're saying that, shockingly, hate crime affects people from all walks of life and impacts on communities across London. All members of our communities have the right to go about their daily life without fear of verbal, physical or written abuse. That is quite the right. That you have a right to not have fear of verbal, physical or written abuse. I would say that no matter what you do, you're going to annoy somebody. And isn't it? Well, Dr. Seuss says that I may not know the key to happiness, but the key to misery is trying to please everybody. So this will never work, and if you're building something, you are going to have critics. People don't hate people who aren't building something, and that's the response you're going to get. The Met does not tolerate any form of discrimination. It does, because discrimination is just to separate things based on some pre-existing criteria. So in order to decide what is discrimination, they have to discriminate, discrimination and non-discrimination. But anyway, and we are committed to tackling offences like this as thoroughly as possible. But they like changing what words mean so that you can never keep up, and therefore they can get away with whatever they want to do. Because then they will say, oh, you didn't understand these words, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It's like, okay, well, so you were using the word incorrectly, can you then explain what you mean? And then we can clear this all up. So, well, no, obviously not. Too big brain. PP small. So Sadiq Khan joined in, disgusted to hear that Islamophobic slogans have been spray-painted near the North Brixton Islamic Centre, that the police are working to remove, but let me be clear, all prejudice is cowardly and criminals will face the full force of the law. He says prejudice, not discrimination. Well done. You've done it correct. You are prejudging people. I mean, chances are, if it's about an Islamic heritage centre, then you're not prejudicial on terms of race. You're saying, oh, here is what these views are, I understand them, and I don't like them. That's not prejudice. That's post-judice, if you will. So you got loads of different Labour people saying, "Oh, isn't it terrible? Isn't it racist?" And my personal favourite, which is Councillor Mohammed Sidat, Lambeth's Cabinet Member for Community Safety, said, "The Council and Police will continue to reassure communities, but we will also need politicians, particularly the government, to act responsibly in rhetoric and action to quell the rise of extremism and division in our society, whether it is Islamist or right-wing, or maybe anything else. I mean, it could be Antifa, it could be communists, it could be socialists, and when you mention right-wing, again, this is just left-wing, as we've gone over before. And then they mentioned the anti-Semitic attacks before as well. So, in closing, as we can see that they're definitely not getting on well with each other in London, as is to be expected. There is less community cohesion, people are getting annoyed. The idea of multiculturalism and diversity has failed. Diversity is not our strength, it is our weakness. And socialists even admit that when talking about fascism, which is basically socialism by another name. The name of fascism, of course, comes from the English word faggot, as in a bundle of sticks, which is together we stand, divided we fall. That is the idea. And therefore, if diversity is our strength, if everybody's trying to go in a different direction, there is no strength, you're just tearing each other apart. And that is what we see here. But, as always, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And, of course, Happy New Year. Until next time, have a good one.